approval as these had.
But he has nothing on,
said a little child at last, and each one whispered to his neighbor what the child had said.
Just listen to the innocent child.
But he has nothing on.
Nothing on at all.
The whole of the people called out at last. This struck the emperor, for it seemed to him as if they were right. But he thought to himself,
I must go on with the procession now.
And the chamberlains walked along still more uprightly, holding up the train, which was not there at all.
Before we turn to our panel and begin our discussion, I want to turn to the real world and a tale equally as entertaining. And this is the story of Mr. Mark Dreyer, who I will introduce via a selection from Fortune magazine. In a year of fabulous frauds, the one that glitzy Manhattan attorney Mark Dreyer has been charged with is in some ways the most fabulous of all. $700 million fraud, leaving $400 million in losses for its victims. While Madoff did his dirty work in seclusion behind locked doors, Dreyer duped his victims with the theatrical, improvisational daring of a high-wire aerialist. According to prosecutors, for more than 4 years, Dreyer sold hundreds of millions of dollars worth of bogus debt obligations to nearly 40 investment funds run by 13 of the nation's most sophisticated asset managers. He and his accomplices talked their way past receptionists of companies they weren't affiliated with, plopped themselves down in empty conference rooms, and then hosted meetings at which they pretended to be people they weren't. The scam succeeded for so long, or as long as it did, because none of the victims could conceive that anyone of Dreyer's stature would act with such monumental recklessness, selfishness, and self-destructiveness. Almost as an afterthought, Dreyer is alleged to have filched about $40 million from his clients' escrow accounts, including $10 million that he stole after his arrest, before authorities could get a receiver appointed to seize control of his law firm and ambulance it into bankruptcy. Ray will now be reading a selection of accounts that were compiled from a series of interviews with Mark Dreyer himself.
Well, obviously, people who know me are puzzled by what I did, and I hope talking to you helps to begin to explain it. I obviously am sincerely, deeply remorseful and sorry about what I did. And hopefully this interview can convey to the people I hurt how remorseful I am. That's the